Beautiful sound. Yeah, man, that really sounds good. Pardon? Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, 481.
Mm. Mm.
What you're listening to is a rap artist,
Ah.
Helium Soldiers by Overman, and he gets these artists from Mexico,
Oh, wow.
and I guess he pays a lot of money for them, in the sense that he contracts their work and their top artists from Mexico. So,
Yeah. Mhm. Did I hear something kind of playing in the background just a split second ago? Okay, great. Okay.
it's our radio station.
Yeah, it kind of
Oh,
lined up with what I was playing, and I'm thinking, geez, my guitar falling apart.
oh no.
Yeah, it was like weird noise, you know?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, it's I've got a monitor system, but it's so much simpler for me to run it through this Bluetooth.
Got you. That makes sense.
Mr. Hall, what I'll do, I'm going to shut this off, but first I'm going to make sure we're actually broadcasting
Okay.
once we start the show. Well, you know what? I sound checked and everything. We're good.
Okay.
Well, okay, I'm going to leave it on and then shut it off once I hear, well, I don't know how to do this. Once we sound checked and everything, we're really good on getting on the air now.
Okay.
And it'd be really annoying to have this music, so I'm shutting it off. I'm just going to go with a wing and a prayer on that one.
There you go.
Okay. So I'll get everything set up. Okay. I will, I'll reverb on immediately, and then when I start talking, I'll take the reverb off. So it'll be okay. I think we're all good to go. And it's 12:59, and right at 1 o'clock, I will click on the button to begin broadcasting.
All right.
And you can start playing now just so that we start. Connected. You've got azradio.live's independent artist spotlight show with today's guest, Arizona Blues Hall of Famer Chuck Hall, brought to you by Kirk Studio for the Performing Arts. Kirk's is the Valley's premier music studio. Call us or go to kirkstudio.com. Also by the Arizona Orthodontic Studio. The Arizona Orthodontic is a modern, friendly, and comfortable office located next door to Kirk's Studio for the Performing Arts on the corner of Frank Lloyd Wright and Via Linda. They are the best. Also, azradio.live is a nonprofit. If you would like to see azradio.live and to support us, then please call us, our assistant director, or email us at info@kirkstudio.com. Attention, azradio.live. Musicians have the talent and passion for their art that distinguishes them among their peers. When you hear Chuck Hall, you know it's the real thing. Mr. Hall creates art in the form of music. The recipe is simple. Start with blues that's so great it clogs the arteries in your ears, stirs in generous portions of refined talent and raw passion, add a dash of showmanship sprinkled with a touch of salty humor, and cook on high heat until it smokes. Serve steaming hot. The result is a spicy musical feast that satisfies and always leaves you wanting for more. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chuck Hall.
Hi, Jimmy. How you doing, man?
Oh, it's wonderful. Welcome to our show, Mr. Hall. You're a long way from Texas and Louisiana, but maybe not Texas, but definitely Louisiana, sir.
Yeah, it's still in my blood, though, in my taste.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is that Louisiana? What can you tell us about that? That's unique. We don't meet a lot of Louisianans around here.
Well, my family moved to Dallas when I was 9. We moved from Baton Rouge, and the food down there is incredible. The people are great. The music, I didn't even realize it until much later, all the music that I had assimilated just by being down there. It's like in the water, in the air, you know?
Wow, that's cool. So what were the influences in that sense? I mean, I hate to use that word Cajun, but is it that influence in that neighborhood?
Well, yeah, it's all over the place down there. My personal influences started with classical music because of my mother. She's a classical pianist. And then my dad would bring home like Dixieland records and that were regional, you know, and local. And
well, you've opened up for Albert Collins, B.B. King, Johnny Winter, Albert King, Willie Dixon, Robert Cray, Greg Allman, the Fabulous Thunderbirds, Charlie Musselwhite, and then Robert Cray again.
Yeah.
Amongst many more to be in the future.
And many that I can't remember.
That's wonderful. And you've written over 100 songs.
It's probably around 200 plus by now. Yeah,
Okay.
not sure.
And your band plays your music.
Yes.
That's pretty unique.
Well, you know, for a long time, that's all I did was the original music with the band. And in the last few years, I hit on this idea that it would really be cool for me to feature the music of the people who inspired me to do it. You know, like all the old blues guys, Willie Dixon being a great example, or B.B. King, or Albert Collins, or Albert King. You know, and so I do what I call a blues homage.
Very neat.
I like that word.
What is a blues homage? Is that
Well, that's me doing my take on all the old classic blues songs.
very neat? Very neat. And you have your first song today, and you wanted to discuss your music with us today.
Yes, absolutely. This first piece I play, it's got to be about the happiest piece of music I ever heard. And when it was coming to me, I realized that, and I thought, as it was coming to me, I was also, I have a great friend who has a barbecue place in Cave Creek, and he likes this kind of style that I'm going to play. It's like a finger style thing.
Very cool.
So between the happiness and the barbecue, I came up with the idea of calling it the Barbecue King. And then it dawned on me, if you've ever seen anybody grilling, they're always happy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? Never seen anybody sad grilling.
Unless it's in Arizona on a 110-degree day, then the cook is kind of a little warm.
Yeah, but you never
they're
see his face.
That's yeah, right.
Okay,
They
I know
hop-
we're on radio.
They
but what
jump
the
in the
heck.
pool. They jump in the
Yeah.
pool. So, but yeah. That's wonderful. I mean, barbecues are wonderful. They're traditional. So, what's the name of the song?
The Barbecue King.
On azradio.live.
Yeah.
Chuck Hall on azradio.live, the Independent Artist Spotlight Show. You know, you've won the Best Blues Guitarist in Arizona 2 years in a row. You were inducted into the Arizona Blues Hall of Fame in 2000. You have a 2-disc compilation CD out and a live Sweden CD available also. Any chance Fervor Records will allow azradio.live to play your music, sir?
Oh, I think they would love to do that.
That would be awesome, but we don't pay royalties. So we'll have to sign the dotted line or something.
There you go. And
Now, yeah.
you mentioned Fervor, and I just actually did a project with them, with a gentleman named Paris James, and it's available for sale now on
Great.
iTunes.
Yep.
Yeah, great record.
I would assume it's available on all the social media platforms, like streaming on Spotify, because that's actually where I
Yes.
heard some of your music today.
Yeah.
Good blues music with your band, even.
Oh yeah.
Did you want to talk about your band at all a little bit?
Well, I've been a band guy for 45 years, playing electric blues. Obviously this is a different instrument. This is a nylon string guitar.
Okay.
For those of you out there in Radioland that can't see it, and
But we are on Facebook Live. Actually, we're going with YouTube Live with the main shot now. We're hoping to
Oh,
get
cool.
100 million viewers.
awesome.
Facebook will have about 2,000 viewers. So.
Awesome. So, all my life I'd played in bands, and I still do occasionally. Not as much. This has been much more of my focus for about the last 5 years.
Okay.
I I'd been playing in bands, like I say, for all this time, and then I met my wife about 6.5, 7 years ago.
Oh, very
We're not 100% sure, but since that time, I've gone from doing a band thing to doing I do a solo thing. I can play like 3.5 hours solo without repeating myself.
Wow.
And I gotta thank her. Somehow she inspired that and brought that out of me.
Very neat.
Yeah.
Is that 3.5 hours straight as far as playing, or do you take
I can do
breaks?
that. No,
Wow.
I've done it. Yeah.
That's Bruce Springsteen. Wow. And you had a song that was selected that was best song. It was called a Young Boy song.
Right.
Your song Young Boy was selected as best song. Can you tell us about that honor?
Oh, that was great, man. I had just moved here, and I literally was walking down Scottsdale Road to the laundromat one day, and that song just kind of hit me in the head, like it was attached to an arrow.
Oh, wow.
Bang! It's in my head. So the whole time I'm doing my clothes, I got to stand there and run over this song in my head constantly to keep it, because
Oh, right.
it had kind of a nice little guitar hook, and all the lyrics were right there. It was just like somebody sent it to me.
Yes, sir. And you're of the day where a lot of us didn't have recorders or things like that. We had to actually go through in our mind over and over and over
Over
the
and
song
over. Yes.
to just remember the song. And
Yes. Oh man, yeah. And so I had performed it around town for quite a bit, and then I think it was about a year later. Soundboard magazine, which was a scene magazine at the time, and the guy's name was Ron. I can't remember his last name. Really nice dude. And he chose that song as Song of the Year, which just blew me away. I was
That's amazing.
really appreciative
Wow.
of that.
Is that song available on your albums?
Yes, absolutely. It's
Which-
on the. You mentioned the
The Sweden Live?
yeah.
Or
It's
the-
on Sweden Live in
the-
Sweden. Mhm.
And you have a 2 CD compilation, I noticed.
That's actually 3 discs.
3 discs.
Yeah,
Wow.
that has
Okay.
it's the records on there are Blues Dogs, Chuck Hall Band 3. I don't know why I called it that. And then Live in Sweden is actually part of that compilation as well.
Very cool. Well, you want to talk to us about song number 2 then?
Yeah, okay, great. I mentioned my wife, and I do have to thank her. I think for some reason, and I haven't quite figured out what it is, she inspired me to put all of this together.
What a neat rejuvenation.
Oh man, it's like wow. So
There is hope.
I had never really played solo in front of anybody before that. So I
Oh,
mean, it
my
was a whole new
goodness.
thing I had to learn, a whole new paradigm.
Wow.
Yeah. And anyway, I wrote this specifically for her,
Okay.
and it's called The Assignment. This is from my beautiful wife, Marianne.
Chuck Hall on azradio.live. You know, we've got music news. azradio.live has a new artist song request feature on our website. Just go to www.azradio.live and request your favorite artists like Billy Chaffee, Jane in the Jungle, or Chuck Hall. And K-Sonic will be playing the Side Pony Music Festival in Bisbee this fall, and they look forward to playing their song, OK Street, named after a famous street in the town of Bisbee. And azradio.live will be broadcasting live from the Belmont Retirement Community Saturday, November 10th. Also beginning at 10 a.m., the band Pasadena will be letting us know today whether they made it to the finals on the Proof in the Pudding show. Hi, Teacher Tuesday. Today's teacher is Scottsdale teacher Garrett Ortego. He teaches guitar, bass, ukulele, and banjo. Garrett holds a degree in jazz performance from ASU and has been teaching in the Valley for many years. He's been with Kirk Studio since 2018 and brings a wide range of experience to every lesson. Call us now to book your lessons with Garrett at 480-227-0546. And remember, you can hear these shows as podcasts anywhere you normally hear your podcasts: Spotify, iHeartRadio, the Age of Radio Network. And that's this edition of Music News on this first day of November in 2018. And that's it.
All right.
Yes, sir. Well, I have to go to the question page again. Technologically challenged, I always call myself when I have to deal with these things. But you can share this. I really wanted to share with our listeners, Mr. Hall, how you've stayed in this business for so long. How many years have you been a professional musician?
Ooh, I'm going to say 40 plus.
40 plus, and I'm still struggling to stay in the business now. So how do you do that? I mean, bands break up after a year or two, and that's pretty much their careers. How have you been able to maintain all that?
Well, it helps to have a thick iron plate in the front of my head here.
Is that a fact?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, magnetic personality. Wow. Amazing. Okay. Anything else? You don't want to give your secrets away to our listeners, though. I don't think they'll have 40-year careers, though.
There's no real secrets to it, I don't think. It's just perseverance as much as anything. And this is what I love doing, and it keeps me alive. So it's like I'm not sure what I would do if I couldn't do this, you know?
Yep. And now on your Facebook page, you had an iconic painting. Who did that painting?
Oh.
It's wonderful.
Are you talking about the little poster?
Yes, sir.
You know, I don't know. That's an old photo of mine from an old Facebook page I had years ago that I don't have anymore. And somebody did that to it.
Wow, that's
it's
amazing.
Really cool.
Do you know where it's hanging at so people can go be tourists and see it?
Well, it's hanging on your door.
Yeah,
Beyond that, I don't know.
It's in some gallery in Arizona somewhere. And also,
really?
Yeah.
That I did not know.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
And also, lastly, before we hear your next song, you were known for your long locks of hair.
Yeah.
And even on your Facebook page, you said you look now like Square Bob Punch. What's that guy's name? SquarePants SpongeBob.
SpongeBob SquarePants. Yeah.
SpongeBob SquarePants. So you obviously have short hair now. What was that like cutting off? I mean, you had about 3 feet of hair, didn't you?
Well, you know, all my life, yeah, I've gone from short hair to long hair and what have you because it grows like a chia pet. So I can do anything I want to with it.
Well, the versatility is good.
And I've actually shaved my head a few times, completely smooth, and went around like that. In fact, I have a funny story about that. I was coming through customs from Phoenix, and my hair was kind of not quite shoulder length, but sort of growing and raggedy. And the guy looked at my passport, and on my passport, I had a pompadour. And he goes, "Do you have something else with your picture on it?" So I handed him, I go, "Yeah, you're not going to like this." So I handed him my driver's license, and I'm bald.
Oh, my goodness.
So he looks at me, and he goes, "Oh, just go ahead."
One extreme to the other.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
No, I was ready to cut all this hair off. It feels so much better.
Well, that's an artist. You know, staying the same is not an artist. So that's cool, having that versatility. That's good. Well, what would you like to tell us about your next song? You were telling us that you had some unique stories that were a little bit, what was the word you used?
Weird.
Yeah, why not? Let's go there.
Some of them are weird. This one's a little more straightforward. But,
okay.
But that's great. We'll get into something weird later.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
next song.
Yeah. You mentioned my Louisiana and Texas roots, and down in Louisiana, I mentioned I assimilated a lot of music without realizing it. And this is something that is kind of just came to me once again. Most of my stuff is accidental, and I just have to figure out what it is and start working on it.
Yeah.
And this one was one of those accidents. And my wife heard me doodling around with it and said, "Oh, you have to finish it." And I'm like, "No, that's too much work." But I stuck. She stuck to it with me, and I got on board and finished it. And it reminds me sort of like Fats Domino.
Oh,
little
that's
bit.
great. And that's how 200 songs were written.
Yeah,
Amazing.
pretty much.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
And so between my wife and I and my friend Brian, we call this Fats Dynamo. Just so it has a name, you know.
The Chuck Hall on the Independent Artist Spotlight Show. New music on azradio.live. This weekend, we're adding K-Sonic, the band, the song OK Street, and the K song, Cool Sound from this band, sort of guitar driven. And new music from Don Kamenker, who wrote, played, produced, engineered, and co-wrote with their singer named Janet. Mr. Kamenker played all of the instruments in their song entitled Bad Dreaming. Hear the world exclusive song only on azradio.live. And also, we're building a repertoire of artists that we call AZ Radio artists, aptly entitled. And they're artists that will be on our programming. And you can, like I said, go to our site and just request your favorite artists. But we have to have the artists in our programming before they can request them. So everyone from like Scott Jeffers Travelers Band. If you like that band, just Google or put his name in our what do you call it, GUI, our player GUI. It's right underneath our GUI, and you just type in the word Travelers, and you'll get all of his music. Or Sherry Finzer, just type in her name, and you'll get all 30 of her songs. So that's really neat. And send your new music to info@azradio.live.
All right. Sounds good to me, man.
Yes, sir. Now, we're still, let me see where we're at on this, on our repertoire here. you have a formula of gigging, recording, and recording with people. Is that what you would say your ingredient to success? Gigging, recording, playing, working with people? Because that seems, when I analyzed your career, that's what I saw. I saw, well, this guy's recording all the time. He's playing all the time. He's working with a lot of different artists within the community. To me, that was the solid foundation of what makes Chuck Hall famous and the Arizona Blues Hall of Famer that we know.
Well, starting out, I got into bands when I was like, I think I had a band when I was 12. And, it's easy then. You just want to get up and jump around and make noise with your electric guitar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
And then as you start to kind of piece things together, you're like, oh, well, I need to get this music out and I need to go play clubs, bars, picnics, whatever, anything. And you just kind of start doing that. And after you built up a little bit of a repertoire, that's when I started thinking about recording it. And that actually opened up kind of a floodgate, because once I'd written a few songs that seemed to be viable and got them recorded, it's like, man, I want to keep doing this, and then the music just sort of would come to me.
Well, did you record music before the Chuck Hall brand name, by any chance?
Well, let me think. We recorded, when I first moved here, most of my recording has been done here. I did a little bit in Detroit with a band called The Banks.
Okay.
And that really kind of, that kind of started the process. And when I moved here, I hooked up with a guy named Texas Red, and we had a 5-piece blues band, and we recorded that, but we didn't really release anything.
Okay.
But we did take it in the studio. And then I put a trio together called Chuck Hall and the Brick Wall.
Okay.
And immediately we're like, I don't know that we had learned 10 songs, and we went in and started recording.
Wow.
Yeah, and we did 5 or 6 records with that band in about 6 years.
Very cool.
And the last one, we actually went to a studio in Houston, a
Wow.
world-class, old-school.
Wow. Analog?
No, it was called Gold Star. I don't know what it's called now, but this is 30-something years ago.
Oh, yeah. Back then, they recorded on digital, not tape, well, analog tape.
Yeah,
Analog
this was
tape.
all
Yep.
tape, all analog. And people like Janis Joplin and Freddie King and George Jones and Buddy Holly had recorded in this studio.
Wow.
So that was a great experience. And then I became the Chuck Hall Band shortly after that, still doing a trio.
Sure.
And by then, man, I had the bug. I was just writing songs left and right and recording every chance we got. And
Would you be interested in having your trio in this studio doing a live show? Because we're kind of branching out to live bands.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely, man.
We'll consider. We'll talk.
Yeah.
Well,
that sounds like a plan.
Now you have your 4th song. You're free to discuss whatever you'd like on this, and I'm using my liberties on that. So please make this interesting.
Yeah, I got you. Well, I call this one Trainwrecked. And the first part of it, once again, this stuff, I can't emphasize it enough. I don't know that I'm a composer as much as a facilitator for this stuff that comes from somewhere, right? And so the first part of it sounds kind of like medieval elves jumping around in a forest somewhere. That's the vision I get of it.
Okay.
And then the second part, which is totally different but fits, sounds kind of like Louisiana swamp funk, sort of.
Wow.
I don't know how this happened, but it happened, and I call it Trainwrecked.
Train wrecked on azradio.live. This is Chuck Hall, ladies and gentlemen. That's great. And you've got holes worn in on your guitar where you've done the strumming. Oh my goodness, that's a
Yeah.
classic.
Yeah, this guitar is only 4 years old, actually.
Oh my goodness, wow.
Yeah.
And nylon strings, is that common nowadays?
Oh,
on a guitar?
Yeah, I've been seeing a little bit of a resurgence in that.
Okay, just
And
curious.
one of the artists my mom used to keep on her shelf, she played classical piano herself, but was Andre Segovia, so I was exposed to that very young.
Very-
And I've always had a nylon string sitting around the house.
Yep.
And I would pick it up, and it would make me play so different, and stuff would come out, and I go, that's really cool. I can remember that. And, of course, I couldn't. And then I get back to when I got together with my wife, Mary Ann, I already had a nylon string guitar, and all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm starting to put all this stuff together and remembering it and working really hard on it, to the point where I've got it what it is now.
Yeah, that's a very unique sound, very unique.
Oh,
Would you like
cool.
some water while I read about our future guests on our show?
Oh,
'Cause
yeah, I've
I'm-
got some. Thank
okay.
you. Yeah.
Well, November 8th at 5 is a return of Patrick Martin and his sidekick Joey. Then, and I mean then, folks, on Thursday, November 15th at 1 p.m., we have a triple bill with the Killers, Billy Chaffee, Eric Ramsey, and Louis Ree Camarada, all in the same room in the same show. And then that's followed up by the outlaw himself, Wayne Ram, at 7 p.m. Thursday, the 29th at 5 p.m., we have an exclusive performance of the Clint Stevens Band. And beginning January 1st, 5 Mics Productions will be diversifying our programming to include live performances, informative podcasts, and the Independent Artist Spotlight Show will move to about once a month or so. So you can schedule your acts to appear or just inquire about our promotional packages with Jamie at kirkstudio.com. And that's the future on azradio.live. We've got guests, we're diversifying. We may not do the grind of a weekly show, but we'll keep the show going and the podcast going because we have to have something for the weekly podcast. So we're hoping to bring in acts in this wonderful auditorium that we've got. So that's in the workings. Hopefully by January we'll be getting that program going. But anyhow, this is the fun part of the show, Mr. Hall, where
Well, it's all been fun.
well, I always see that it's almost irony.
Uh-huh.
But this is the most fun part for me
Good,
because
cool.
this is the part where we can just relax and not worry about saying anything wrong because that's the whole point of all these questions because no matter what I ask, it's all sounds wrong.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of today's world. Just say one word and a million people will think something bad of it. Just a simple little word. Let's take a word out of the air. Wagon.
Wagon.
Okay.
My tail is wagging.
There we. Oh, what tail is wagging? Oh, careful. Is that twerking? Is that twerking nowadays?
Oh, no, this is a non-twerking zone.
Back
I'm
in the
sorry.
50s. Okay. So anyhow, what venue do you prefer in the Valley to play your music at?
Oh, boy. Yeah, I don't know that I have a favorite. I have a couple of favorite people that I deal with, and they kind of make the venue what it is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, and one of them is a small, wonderful barbecue place in Cave Creek that he doesn't even consider himself a live music venue at all. He just loves having live music. So he's got me on a regular basis, and occasionally Hans Olsen plays there, and occasionally his other friend Paul Borough plays there.
Very cool.
So naturally, all the musicians in town, crowd him to try to get gigs, and he's like, "No, this is what it is."
Very good. And I mean, obviously, if he's sticking with you guys, you must have a very good draw to that venue. That brings
yeah,
people in.
he does good business.
Good for him.
Absolutely.
Good
and
for you guys.
there's another really wonderful. I'm getting to know the guy really well. A place called Corrado's. It's an Italian food place right there in Carefree, and he's just wonderful. And he told me I didn't know this when we first started playing there, but he used to own a jazz club in New Jersey.
Wow.
And I went, oh, no wonder, because when you get around people that are sensitive to music and want to have it,
Yep.
you get a good feeling from it, and it really helps everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Boy, that makes it all worthwhile almost.
yeah.
And then, what was it like when you walked across the stage to receive your award for the Arizona Blues Hall of Fame? Was it a statue or what did they award you then? And what was that like? That whole feeling when they announced your name, and then you're just gliding across the stage, going, "This
Well,
is for me."
Much appreciation, and once again, my good friend Hans Olsen had a lot to do with putting that whole thing together. That whole organization.
Very cool.
And it was really cool. The recognition part is it's part of what you do it for. It's not all, of course, but everybody likes to get recognized for something that they do, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. So I had that feeling. And the other feeling was, wow, I got to get out of here. I got a gig in about 2 hours.
The reality of everything.
Yeah, you
It's
know,
a
but
busy
that's
world.
part of it. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, and what was the craziest thing a fan has ever done at some of your shows? Do you have a crazy fan story?
You know, I'll keep this funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And yeah.
I've got thousands of stories, but they kind of come to me out of the dark. You know, I don't
Okay.
my memory being what it is. But I'll never forget this couple. We were playing in a place in Sweden, and we had our monitors sitting on some kind of box or something in front of the stage so that, you know, we could aim them the way we wanted. But they weren't actually, they were just off the front of the stage on the dance floor.
Okay.
And this couple, two little old people, and they just kept flying around the dance floor, and about every third orbit, they would just trip completely and wipe out completely
Oh no.
on the monitor
Oh
system.
my goodness.
And get right back up and go back again.
Oh, my
Start
goodness.
orbiting again. And we watched this happen about 5 times, and
Oh,
it's all we could do to get through the song
And-
with this going on. It was great.
and they fell 5 times?
I'm going to say
Good
they
for
probably
them.
fell about
Good.
5 times and got right back up.
Good for them. That's
Yeah, that was great.
And lastly, ham on rye?
Ham on rye. hmm. I'm kind of a corned beef guy.
There we are.
Yeah,
Corned
yeah.
beef. Well, we have your last song, song number 5.
Okay.
And what would you like to say about this last song?
This was actually, I wrote this about 30 years ago. Again, it kind of came to me, and then I had to put it together. And the movie Driving Miss Daisy was popular at the time, so I was looking for a name for it. So I originally called it Walking Miss Daisy. And
Walking Misty.
yeah, and then I forgot that and changed it to Greasy Love Rag for some reason. And that was actually my first encounter with one of the guys who would become a part of Fervor Records. I recorded it for a record called Arizona Unplugged. I think it came out in 1991, and it was titled Greasy Love Rag. Didn't touch the song again for like, close to 20 years. And then I found a copy of it, and I went, oh my God, I got to relearn that. By then, I was playing the nylon string. And again, my wife heard me messing around with a little bit of it. She goes, oh, that's really good. You got to finish that. I'm like, oh, got to go back to work now.
Yep.
So I was playing it, and I was calling it Greasy Love Rag. And then a friend of mine who remembered that I had called it Walking Miss Daisy came in and said, oh, you're playing Walking Miss Daisy again. And I went, oh, thank you. Thank you for reminding me of the title that I prefer.
That is a good title.
Now, there's a quick aside. I'll never forget that I like to send this out to my wife at shows, because the minute I saw her walk in, I saw Miss Daisy walking. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay.
Oh my goodness, that's great. Wow. That's phenomenal.
So here we go.
Okay.
Walking Miss Daisy. All right.
Thank you, Chuck Hall, for being a consummate professional and our guest on our Independent Artist Spotlight show. azradio.live is brought to you by Kirk Studio for the Performing Arts. If you want the pros to teach you or your family, then think kirkstudios.com. Okay, Mr. Hall, do you know how we end the show?
No, not exactly.
Well, as I say every show, we stole this from Elvis Duran out of New York City, one of the top hip hop stations in the world. And he goes, okay, we're out of here. 1, 2, 3, see ya. So I'll say, okay, Mr. Hall, we're out of here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And you just say, see ya. Okay. Ready? Okay. Okay, Mr. Hall, we're out of here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. See ya. Okay, we're off the air.
All right, cool.
Thank you,
man.
sir. Very good show.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Do you want to take 5 minutes and record a couple voiceovers, or are you
Sure,
ready?
whatever
Okay.
you want.
Okay,
Yeah.
it'll take me 3 minutes to get ready for that.
Okay. Can I unplug?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Doesn't hurt anything.
Good.
At least that's what I'm told.
Yeah.
YouTube world.